Of course, his books, Killing Series 14 in, Confronting the Presidents, Confronting Evil, still selling big numbers on that New York Times bestsellers list. He has a live show at the Kennedy Center. Whatever he does is great. Although I will say this, Bill, your live shows and this relationship you've got at News Nation, which I happen to like, with Cuomo and Stephen A. Smith. And you know Stephen's on this show quite a bit. I like Steve sometimes. Sometimes he's out of his mind. But when this NBA and this NBA scandal broke last week about the gambling and all that, and Stephen A. Smith found a way to include President Trump, did you talk to him about that? How asinine that was?
No, I think he was under the influence of ether when he said that. I'm trying to get Stephen A. off that.
You know what I thought, to be honest? I thought that, I'm being serious, that he really wants to run in 2028. I think he wants to run for a little bit, go through one debate, savage the competition, then go home, because the best way to make sure you can get in the race, if you're a Democrat, is to kill Trump. And he went out of his way in a ridiculous comment to kill President Trump.
Okay. Here's what happened there. So, number one, the reason that Stephen A. Smith is successful is because you never know what he's going to say, and he says it in a very direct manner, and I know that because I do that too.
Hate guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not boring, and, that is, oh, my God, these guys aren't boring. They can't possibly be on television. Okay, so he took a lot of heat for the Crockett comments, the Democratic congressperson from Texas, who's totally irresponsible, doesn't know anything, uses invective, disrespects not only Donald Trump, but the entire office of the presidency. And Stephen A. laced her. Well, he took an enormous amount of heat for that. He was attacked by color people, like this guy on CNN, Sellers, Bakari. I mean, he really took a lot of heat. So I think, though, in his mind, he was looking for a way to kind of deflect some of that heat. And then when the NBA thing broke, he somehow came to the conclusion that President Trump was directing Pam Bondi to investigate gambling in the NBA. Now, that's not true, but that was Stephen A.'s opinion. That's his opinion. And when somebody gives an opinion, all I do, unless it's, bad for the nation, is say, that's not true, and here's what's true. And I know that President Trump isn't paying attention to Mike Rozier and Chauncey Billups, okay? I know that. I can tell you that. So that's what happened with Stephen A. And look, he's got like 18 shows. So you're going to say dopey stuff. I mean, if you look at you got 4 hours a day. Today you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, we need more Islamophobia.
That's right. Yeah. No, you know why I said that? And I mean it. I mean it. Because it doesn't exist, but we need it. We don't
That's
need.
not the way it's going to be portrayed.
I know that. You think I care? Do you know,
No.
Bill O'Reilly, that I led the news 4 consecutive nights because I said Mamdani would be cheering if there was another 9/11? And I'll say it again. That mother effer would be cheering.
And that's your opinion, and you're entitled to it.
No, that's fact.
Okay, it's fact. If there's another 9/11, Mamdani's going to be out there cheering.
That's right.
I'll put some money on that for you, but that's down the road. What I'm saying is, every one of us who does commentaries is dopey things, and that is one of Stephen A.'s on his resume. But that's why he did it, because he was under enormous pressure. And, it's an interesting story because that's what the far left and the race hustlers do. They intimidate. And I saw it every day that I worked at Fox News, all 20 years. I saw it every single day. If you went after somebody like Sharpton or Jackson or any of these people, then you got the call and, you're a racist, you're this, you're that. At one point, I said that Maxine Waters, the congresswoman from California, was on Fox and Friends promoting a book, and they ran a picture of her. and she had the big wig on. Okay, and I said she looks exactly like James Brown, which is true. And then on my show, I put up both pictures.
Oh, God.
Right.
They had to kill you.
Now,
it's hilarious
that
and
wasn't
true.
a racist comment.
Ah, come on.
No, if it were Dolly Parton,
Right.
I would have said the same thing.
Right.
All right, the wig is the wig.
She does look like him.
Oh, my God. You wouldn't believe
I believe.
the hell that descended.
I know.
Okay. So the point is that I gave Stephen a pass on this one.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you, going back to Mamdani, you live in Nassau County, so you don't have to worry about this. I mean, you do to a certain extent because a lot of us are moving into your neighborhood. But you don't have to vote. But I'm going to ask you to be honest. I know you're not a big Cuomo guy at all. But if I said to you, Bill, that 25 times, maybe 50, I'm not exaggerating, 50 times a day somebody DMs me or texts me and says, I hate Cuomo, but I had no choice. That's it, okay? If you were in the city, who would you vote for today?
Cuomo.
But you don't like him.
Yeah, but I mean, what you're voting for is the non-destruction of New York City's social order. So I don't have to like somebody. Look, my controversial statement, I call a little hell for this, but I'm like you, I'm standing up for what I say. I said anybody who pulls a lever for Mamdani is doing an evil act.
Yes.
Because that off my book in front of evil. Doesn't mean you're evil. That would be an irresponsible statement. And the backup to the statement is, and I had this long conversation with my daughter the other day, who lives on the Upper East Side. I said, if the man is elected, more people will be murdered, raped, assaulted in the city. And there's no two sides to that. And I was talking to a high-ranking police official this week, because I'm essentially still a reporter at heart. And I wanted to get a profile of what the cops are thinking. And the cops are never going to say anything, and the unions don't say anything. It's a blackout. All right, the former police might, the retired guys, but nobody active. And then what the guy, and he knows, he says, look, if Mamdani gets in there, the police, the New York City police, already 10,000 light, the 10,000 from where they should be, okay, will go into a passive mode. That means that calls will not be answered as quickly. If there's any kind of a controversial situation, the cops will not get in the middle of it. So a domestic fight, for example, because the police know that the Civilian Review Board is going to crucify them no matter what they do. So they're going to not dereliction of duty. They'll still enforce the law, but there'll be a lot more cautious about doing that. So how does that add up? That adds up to a lot more violent crimes, a lot more miscreants wandering around bothering people, more homeless, more drug addiction, and then a decline, rapid decline of social order. And we don't have social order now in the city.
Right. Even worse. But what confuses me is that, and I'm just joking when I say this, I'm being sarcastic, doesn't want to confuse me because what you just said has been said to me 100 times a day. But what confuses me is you tend to agree more with Curtis Sliwa's policies. Why would you vote for Andrew Cuomo?
Because Sliwa can't win.
He can't win.
Right. So Sliwa can't win. I don't think Cuomo can win either. Not after the new Emerson poll. And I do internal polling, too, with my guys. And there's no pollster that says Cuomo has a chance. If he won, it would be like Truman overtaking Dewey in that famous election of 1948.
Really?
Yeah. There's just no way. There isn't one pollster on the face of the earth that thinks that Cuomo is going to win. So I got to, as a reporter, go by the data that's coming in. And then if you look at the early voting, Mamdani also has a comfortable lead in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, and in Queens. Cuomo's leading in Staten Island and the Bronx. But that's nearly enough because most of the people are in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. So he's going to win. And, you know, for me, I'm renting rooms now in my house on Long Island for an exorbitant amount of money.
No, don't laugh. I mean,
listen, my property values are up 20%
Of course.
since this communist announced that he's going to run.
I mean, are you paying close attention with that said? Because you talk about he's going to win. I feel the same way about Bruce Blakeman. He's running against some psycho, this Seth Kozlow guy.
Blakeman's going to win.
He's going to win.
Yeah, he could go. He could go to Boca Raton tomorrow. That's how comfortably ahead he is. Because Nassau County people, unlike New York City people, actually pay attention, and I'm generalizing now, but there are 50% of the electorate in New York City were born overseas. And what people don't understand, those of us who are born and raised in the New York area, is that their mindset is completely different than the people who are indigenous to this area. But that's not the case in Nassau. In Nassau, it's mostly people who were raised on Long Island, and Blakeman has kept the line on the property taxes, and Nassau, by some measures, are the safest county in the country.
Yeah. Well, you've got a great
why
DA.
would you vote against that?
No, I don't know. I mean, and the guy that running against him, women fantasize about rape. I mean, it's crazy. And Ann Donnelly's a great DA, and Pat Ryder's a great police commissioner. No, you're good. But I want to move to Trump for a second because, you know, we've said things about the president over the last couple of months, glowing things, right? His trip to the Middle East, the bombing of Iran, the miracle deal he pulled off with Israel and Hamas. Even though Hamas has breached it about 10 times, it's still kind of working its way towards a peaceful resolution. And what it looks like to me, and you know Asia better than anybody, you were in China. You were in China literally less than 2 months ago. It looks like this was another incredibly rewarding trip. Am I missing something?
No, and I'm going to have to give you a bragging alert here now.
Okay.
Riley is about to brag, so you people in Poughkeepsie, you don't like that. You have to turn off the. Okay. So all this week I've been texting with the president.
Love it.
All right. And I'm not going to get into national security because Pete Hegseth and Pam Bondi will have me arrested and I'll disappear and you'll never see me again. And I'll wind up in Edmonton or someplace. And I really don't want to do that.
No.
But all week I've been texting. And at one point, President Trump said, "You should be here." And I said, "I have to do Sid's show. I can't."
I love that. God. You're not even lying. You did say that, didn't you? Because Tom Homan told him the same thing last week.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they respect me, but boy, I've been 100% right on.
Yeah.
I was on Cuomo News Nation last night, and this was before any announcement, and I just laid it. Everything I said was true because I understand, as you pointed out, what exactly is going on. So this trip for America was very, very successful. And it'll be very interesting to see who tries to undermine it. And I've got my guys now watching all the television broadcasts to see who's going to try to undermine this. But it's successful for two reasons. Number one, everybody in Asia has fallen into line with the United States, except for China. So Japan, for example, is a huge consumer of Chinese goods as well. Okay? Well, they are now our best friends. And then even a Malaysia, which doesn't really matter much because they don't have a lot of money down there to buy stuff, everybody's kissing the president's butt. Everybody. Cambodia.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. China knows that and says, we better not be apart from this. So she goes in, murky, and these are bad boys. So what they say doesn't mean what they're going to do. They're not Putin. Putin's insane, literally. She's not that. He's a businessman. And very few people noticed this last week, but she whacked 7 generals. Okay? Wasn't even reported in the United States. I got the call about 30 minutes after these guys disappeared. Now, if you're going to fire 7 generals, that means there's unrest in your country. Okay? That's a big deal. So Xi's position is weakening. Trump knows that. But I suggested don't overplay it. Okay. The most important thing is oil. So she now is committed to buying Alaskan oil from the United States. Why is that important?
Because he had been buying Russian oil.
He backs away from Putin.
Right. He's been buying Russian oil all these years.
Right. That's number one.
Well, that's huge.
Yeah. Soybeans is good if you live in Iowa.
Right.
They're all happy in soybeans.
Right.
I don't even know what a soybean is. If I go to a restaurant in New York and I go, I'd like some soybeans, they look at me like, is that pastrami? What do you want? I don't know.
Yeah.
But China's going to buy a lot of soybeans. Okay,
Right.
that's great.
Right.
But Trump got pretty much in 2 hours what he wanted. And they're pals now. But here's going forward. Trump invited Xi to the USA. If she accepts that invitation, that's enormous.
Yeah.
Enormous.
Well, I mean, he went to Mar-a-Lago a couple of years ago during Trump's first presidency.
Yeah, I think he bought a condo.
I think he did too.
So he's at a Manalapan now on his off days. But this is so important because it potentially neutralizes Iran and Russia. It bolsters the U.S. economy down the road. It's not going to be tomorrow, but it's all a positive for the United States.
Huge.
It is
Huge.
And I'm looking at these people, and all they want to talk about is the new ballroom.
Oh, stop it, please.
Right. And I'm going, it's so ridiculous.
I mean, the new ballroom, we got to run, but the beauty about that is, first of all, by the time he builds it, he won't even be there to enjoy it. And he doesn't, it's not like he's going to sit in there for 4 years and name it after himself. He's not naming it the Trump Ballroom. He's not going to be there. Hopefully it'll be for J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. It's not even his. He'll be gone.
No, but he'll have 2 years where he can do the YMCA dance in the ballroom.
Good for him. I love that dance. He was great in
I think he frightened the Malaysian people with the little dance.
Right?
I went, what dance? Was that the monkey you were doing? What was that?
But how great was that? Come on, Bill. How great was that?
Yeah, but I didn't know what dance. It might have been a swim. I have to call Cousin Brucey and get that dance thing figured out.
Yeah, Cousin will know. Hey, Bill, this was an amazing appearance as always, buddy. I love you so much.